Mercury's fully retrograde and already having connection issues. Alrighty. So, we'll see how this goes. But I feel like I need a little theme music here, like some, especially with the snow, some sort of twinkly something. But all right. Well. This is gonna be the vibe for the end of the year. Maybe it's very appropriate to have Mercury retrograde right before New Year's Eve. It's sort of, I don't know, it goes along with our reflective nature at this time. Kind of looking at what we've done throughout the year, looking at what we didn't do, maybe. Getting a sense of how we feel about those things. Hopefully celebrating some things that we've done this year. Hopefully being proud of ourselves for some of the things we've navigated this year. And had to re-navigate, especially with Mars being retrograde too. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I tend to reflect a lot at this time of year. The sun crosses my ascendant and I'm always kind of like, a new cycle begins. So last time we pulled for the new moon, at the Capricorn new moon, and we talked a lot about how it was kind of going to be more of an internal process, right? We knew that even though it was a new moon, that these planets were going to be retrograde, and so it wasn't necessarily going to be the kind of new start that we're used to, right? And so we kind of agreed that maybe it was more of an internal kind of new moon, some inner work that we're doing, some inner restructuring, some goals for, I don't know, what we're rebuilding within ourselves, especially after all of the squares between Saturn and Uranus and all of the squares to those planets from the inner planets across this year. So there's a lot that we are rebuilding for ourselves. So last time we were talking about the High Priestess as kind of the energy, the cycle that was beginning for us. So I'm very curious to see what we have coming up at this first quarter moon. And it's in Aries at 8 degrees. And we know that that's going to be ruled by Mars, and Mars is retrograde. So that definitely continues our theme, kind of affirms for us that this is not necessarily a typical first quarter moon where we're seeing or feeling some sort of pressure about what we're building outside of us, but maybe rather we're feeling some of those consequences manifesting of what we are building within ourselves. The High Priestess tells us, or told us at the new moon, that we are spending time now kind of deepening our sense of intuition and connecting with separations from situations that were not really working out for us or where we weren't really being appreciated or treated well. And first quarter moon in Aries, oh, absolutely, you got it. I'm going to save this. It's going to be posted later for anyone who wants to tune in and rewatch. So, yeah, so it kind of makes it makes sense that we would see a first quarter moon ruled by a Mars in retrograde, ruled by a Mercury in retrograde, that we might see some, I don't know, some shifts happening in our own dynamic, our dynamic between ourselves and others. There may be, I was thinking about this earlier, my cats were like wrestling before I started this. There may be a lot of kind of like, hot takes, some reactions or responses to some boundaries we're putting up, some reactions or responses to the way we've separated from energy that wasn't serving us or situations that weren't beneficial to us. And so there may not be a tangible project that we are seeing come to life and putting the pressure on us to succeed, but we may definitely be seeing our dynamics shifting in a way, and us feeling the pressure of, can I keep this up? Is this the right thing? Did I make the right choice? Can I keep going? Can I make it through this kind of moment of maybe a little stickiness or a little bit of needing to reframe? So with this first quarter moon, let's see what kind of energy is accumulating at this time. And I'm wondering, I'm kind of curious how this moon cycle has been playing out for y'all so far. If anyone is really feeling this Mercury retrograde already, I feel like I certainly am. It rules my 6th house of body and time, and so I've been moving so slowly today, even though it's Capricorn season and I want to be really motivated. It's fine. It's totally fine. With so many retrogrades, it's like we're being forced to slow down, and that's just, it's going to have to be okay. All right, so we're going to be seeing energy that is accumulating, as well as doubts that are arising with this energy that is accumulating, gifts that we can work with regarding this energy, and then lessons we are able to make sense of as we approach the full moon next week. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. So, energy that is accumulating. We've got, our lunar cycle so far is full of major arcana cards, which means we're definitely doing some like bigger downloads, some larger archetypal, like kind of attunement right now. So again, more inner work, less external like manifestation at this time, and more just like inner restructuring. So energy that is accumulating is the star. All right. So I love to see this. What a lovely little omen to start with. So with the star, we are emerging from a tower moment, and that could certainly be part of what we've been experiencing so far. And with the star, we're emerging from a little bit of maybe chaos or unpredictable, tumultuous events, and emerging from those feeling more authentic, feeling more attuned to who we are, who we've wanted to be as we emerge from this rubble. And usually that rubble is because we are making changes to be this more authentic person. We make changes, or hopefully we're making changes. And we talked about that last week with the 7 of Swords, where we're stepping out of situations, spaces, relationships that are bringing out maybe some of our more negative or undesirable qualities, where we're not necessarily being who we want to be, or where we are surrounded by situations or people that are not treating us well, or where we're not really fully able to be honest. And so I love that, seeing this, emerging from this situation and saying, all right, I'm learning more about myself, how to be more myself, and how to feel safe in doing so. Doubts that arise with this energy, the Ace of Swords. Okay, so absolutely. As we emerge from some chaos of being more authentic and putting that into motion, and the dynamics that must shift, there are absolutely like truths and revelations that come about that we are really fearful of sometimes. If I do this, if I put myself out here like this, if I start being honest in this way, then like I'm going to have to accept more truth. There are going to be more realizations that come about that are going to kind of continue to shift myself, how I respond to my environment, how I respond to others, and how I want to be treated by others. And so that can be scary. Embracing those truths can be really scary. We usually tend to be in denial about them. And when we finally start to embrace them, we kind of have to let the floodgates open. So that makes a lot of sense. The swords can be a scary journey, and yet the ace really has us trying to start that journey with the earnest attempt to make space for these truths before we kind of spiral down into the rest of the swords, which is what happens if we don't necessarily, react honestly to what comes up for us. All right, gifts that I can work with regarding this energy. Justice. So we have another sword, which is fun. It's a less scary sword, and maybe this is a kind of transmutation process that we can work with. So if justice is the gift that we can work with, that means we can do our best to make things right as much as possible. So again, kind of heeding the energy of this ace, which says there are revelations abounding that must be embraced, that must be integrated, that must be, made conscious. And so in doing that, in putting in the genuine energy to do that honestly, we can make things right, however that makes sense for us. That'll be different for each of us, right? Depending on what our situations are currently and what these truths are pertaining to, and, where it is that we are finding ourselves living more authentically, and kind of where those ripples are happening. Maybe it's everywhere, and that's absolutely something that could be happening. But it may also be a more specific place in your life, maybe a specific relationship, a specific environment, etc. So we're doing something, or we can take this as an invitation to put in the work to make it right. So if there's something fearful that we are not feeling ready, right? This is a doubt and a complication, perhaps, what's coming up with this truth. We can take this as a sign that it's a good idea to put the effort in to make it right now, rather than to kind of let it fester or remain fearful of it. And this is ending on such a beautiful note. Lessons I am able to make sense of as we approach the full moon next week. The sun. Okay, so we've got like two of the most authentic cards here, right? We've got the star, which arrives after this moment of chaos. We've got the sun, which arrives after a period of darkness, right? In the moon, we are challenged to sit with all of our fears, with all of our subconscious anxieties, with all of the shadows and whispers that live within our subconscious. And so when the sun arrives, it is very similar to the star in that we are exiting a period of we're exiting this period of maybe crisis and entering a place of seeing ourselves renewed in some way, seeing ourselves, I love the sun, thinking about like being reborn, kind of the light returning after, or maybe the light emerging at the end of a tunnel, maybe like that. So the sun reminding us that we are invited to remember our like inner warmth, our inner child, embrace our authenticity, and to kind of live out, And so this is beautiful. This basically says, all right, we're seeing ourselves emerge from a place of maybe needing to set boundaries or separating ourselves from situations. And in that, we are accumulating energy surrounding our authenticity and our genuine presence. We are carrying some doubts and maybe experiencing some complications around truths that arrive out of this situation. New revelations, new just boundaries came up again, and that's certainly a sword energy. So we may be doubtful or fearful of those things. And a gift we have access to is justice, putting in the effort to make things right at this time. Recognizing that this is a situation that's bigger than us, and therefore kind of stepping into that role of being able to fulfill that kind of bigger person moment. And making sense of these lessons of authenticity, again, emerging from a period of uncertainty and shadow, stepping into the light once more, being our genuine, young at heart, inner child. What other words can I throw at this? And I specifically put, reminder that this is my deck that I made. I specifically put butterflies here too, because this is a transformational process. To go through the moon, to embrace your subconscious is not, we all talk about shadow work these days, and like, that is not easy stuff. That's not, there's grief in there. There's anger, there's rage, there's so many emotions that we're kind of taught to suppress and be afraid of. And so these butterflies really show us that we are emerging after a transformation. We're free in a way. We are now these like these flighty creatures that are able to, bless the sky with their beautiful colors. So basically, moral of the story is be yourself, embrace your truths, be genuine and respectable and like just about them. Do the right thing about them for yourself and others, and live your most authentic life. Embrace this chapter of feeling yourself transformed. We are evolving, right? I think that's what Saturn has been trying to get us to do over the past 6 years that we've had Saturn in domicile across Capricorn and Aquarius. And last time we talked about this being the final Capricorn new moon with Saturn in domicile, and our next new moon will be the final Aquarius new moon with Saturn in domicile. So we're really trying to firm up who we are becoming at this time. So again, it makes so much sense. There's a lot of internal work happening. I'm so glad that meant so much to you. Thank you for sharing that with me. My goodness. Yeah, I'm so glad. This has been, we're seeing some larger arcs here of really digging our true selves out of some patriarchal marble. And that's work. Like that is work. So please, pat yourself on the back, eat a snack, do something pleasant and gentle for yourself. Everything is retrograde. So don't push yourself too hard. Be proud of yourselves for this work that we're doing, because it's a lot. It's a lot, and 2023 is going to bring some shifts, and that's what this work now is for. It's preparing us for that. So y'all are doing it. We're doing it, and I'm so excited. So, all right. If you enjoyed this reading, we're going to do it again. We do this weekly. We've started a fun thing, so thank you for being here. Your presence is amazing. We're doing moon cycle readings. So next week will be the full moon. It will be the first full moon of the year. That's exciting. And it'll be in Cancer. So hopefully we'll be nice and, nourished and resting and all of that and embracing the new year. And I will be, I'll be sending out oracle scopes for January, this weekend. So sign up for the newsletter and you'll get those in your inbox. Thank y'all so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, please share it. Please like it. And thank you. And we'll see you next week.